Closed captioning is brought to you by BMG, Benefits Management Group.
Welcome to The Road in Between. We are so glad you're here. We've got a super show for you. We're going to start off with John Clarkpacker, who is a great friend of mine, and he has shown me incredible courage with cystic fibrosis and how he continues to live through that disease. He's going to share about the Dukes of Hazzard and his favorite show of all time. And we happen to have Roscoe, and he's going to be on a fishing trip with my producer, Wayne Burns. Then after that, we have Scott Anderson, who is the Director of Oncology at the Cancer Center in Mississippi. And then we're going to share with Dr. Lee Thornton as he deals with his ministry of medicine with cancer. So stick around. When we come back, we'll be with John Clarkpacker.
The Road in Between with Tom Sykes is sponsored by John O'Neill Johnson Toyota, CRM Companies, Archer Architecture, Mitchell Signs and Imprints, Glass Incorporated, Benefits Management Group.
Here we are at Batson Children's Hospital in Jackson, Mississippi, and I am delighted to share the story with John Clarkpacker, a dear friend through many years. And John Clark, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
We're glad you're here. Can you just share a little bit about your journey in life and how you kind of came into this old world?
Absolutely. I came into the world kicking and screaming. I have cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic lung disease. I was born very sick and transported. I was born in another hospital and transported over here to Batson the night that I was born, where I ended up having emergency surgery where I had half of my small intestine removed, and they had diagnosed me with, that was a sign of cystic fibrosis, which is, like I said, a genetic lung disease. And I went on to spend the first 8 months of my life here in the Children's Hospital. So I was born in February and didn't get out till the fall. So it was, the place became our home. You know, my family, we didn't have anybody sick in the family at the time. No one knew anything about a children's hospital here in Mississippi. And then boom, all of a sudden we were just hit right into it.
Now you understood when you had CF that the life expectancy at that time was not very long.
Yeah, when I was born, life expectancy was like probably 15, 18 years old. I mean, it was in early teens. And now it's late 30s. So it's just amazing to see as the years go on, the life expectancy goes up and more drugs come out and more treatments come out, then that enables them to keep up and up.
And what have you learned about living with disease rather than what some people experience of like dying with disease? How have you decided that with your mental?
Well, the word living right there in itself is what it's all about, because you have a choice. You can either quit or live. And most people with CF, I mean, it's a nonstop daily dose. I mean, you have to deal with it every single day, doing treatments twice a day, taking 60 pills a day. I mean, it just never ends. So, and a lot of people give up. They say, I'm tired of it. I'm going to quit taking my medicine. And the moment you quit taking your stuff and give up, it can't get it back. It beats you down. So I've always had the attitude that you just got to keep on doing it, because, I mean, why would you do that? You know, you got to keep living, and that's the main thing that's my whole thing in life, is you got to just keep living. Because
now Matthew McConaughey, tell us about that, because I know that's
that's his slogan, and I ended up liking him, and that's how that came about with me. It works perfectly with my life, because what I just said, you know, people it doesn't just have to be CF. Anybody who's fighting any illness, pain, sickness, anything, they can give up or they can live, and they can choose the two. And I just choose to carry on my life to make an inspiration to people who might be struggling and might be having a hard time and choosing whether to give up or not. And then look at that guy, he's he's living life with disease, you know, and he's not letting it get him down. So I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a process that you just have to deal with.
Why do you think this is so important?
Well, this is very important because my mission in life is, I don't know why I have CF, but I think that it's a reason. I think the reason why I was put on this earth is to inspire people who might be having a hard time, and that's the whole purpose of life, is to help others out and help people who are trying to overcome difficulties in their life, and that's what I think my mission is on earth. What I do here at the hospital. I don't know exactly how it started, but it was actually before the movie, before people had bucket lists, and you were one of the first ones that we talked about, and one of the greatest memories I had, being such a big Dukes of Hazzard fan, growing up as a kid. That was my show, my favorite actor. It had everything. Favorite actor was John Schneider, and so I was just a diehard, and I found out that they had a reunion in Sperryville, Virginia, in the middle of nowhere, just about. And I asked you if you wanted to come with me, and you did, and we had an awesome time. And we jumped through the windows and jumped out like it was a General Lee. We went to Cooter's place where the event was held, and they had all the orange General Lees you could think of, and one of the center consoles from one of the original General Lees, signed by John Schneider. That was
rode in the back of the car,
and that was the highlight of the night. After the auction, you arranged to ride in the car, so we actually rode in the General Lee in the hills of Northern Virginia at night. That was living right there.
Right,
that's
so
what
that
was
your
about.
First one, and then on.
That was an awesome trip.
You're a big sports fan.
Big sports fan.
Talk about the stadiums you've been to.
So my mom and I would go usually after school every summer. We would take a trip somewhere, whether it be Chicago, New York, LA, San Francisco, anywhere like that. And we were in Chicago, was one of the first ones, and we went to Wrigley Field, and I loved it. And I've always been a baseball fan, and I just got hooked when I went to Wrigley Field. I was like, this is awesome. And then after that, every year I've tried to go to a different ballpark. And right now, I actually just got back from a baseball trip, and I've hit 19 ballparks since then.
What an amazing story John Clarkpacker is. He lives with cystic fibrosis. If you'd like to find out more about that disease and how to overcome it and deal with it, you can go to cff.org.
Stick around. The Road in Between will be right back.
Hello, I'm Neil Johnson with John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company. We offer Toyota, we offer Hyundai, BMW, and Mazda.
You can take them beyond the road and go out and have an adventure. You can go hunting, you can go fishing, kayaking, bicycling, take them all out on the road in between.
Some of the great ones for that, Tom, are the Toyota Tundra, Toyota Tacoma, Toyota 4Runner, Land Cruiser is another good one, the Toyota Sequoia. They're great for the outdoors.
You'll come by and see them.
John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company, a name you can trust, products you can depend on.
In today's world where most businesses and corporations' main mission is to simply make profit, CRM Companies differs itself by focusing on being successful in a way that also promotes growth and prosperity in the community. CRM Companies isn't simply a commercial development and management company. They create opportunities, they create jobs, they maximize the potential for growth and development of a better community, all while still providing great services and outstanding customer relations. Learn more about CRM Companies and their mission today. Visit crmco.com. We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sykes. This outdoor segment with Tom Sykes is brought to you by John O'Neill Johnson Toyota.
There he is. He's a chunk. Look at him. He looks like Boss Hog, doesn't he? Now, if I could get that hook out of there without hurting him, which I'm trying to do. Give me a chomp. Isn't he beautiful? See, now I put him back in the water because I believe in catch and release. If you're not going to eat a fish, you don't keep it. If you do, I'll cuff you and stuff you if I find out about it. See, I'm going to put him back in the water now, and he's going to swim away, have a lot of babies. Well, he won't have a lot of babies, but he'll fall in love and they'll have babies. All right.
back, you know, when I was growing up and I was watching the shows and everything, I mean, it was something that everybody did miss, and me and Brian agreed as well. You know, that Friday night when that show came on, man, everybody was there watching the Dukes of Hazzard.
You know what a blessing it is for this old country boy come out of Kentucky Hills. I hitchhiked to New York for whatever 3 cents in my pocket after World War II. I was a radio gunner in B-17s, and then went into the military police and fought the werewolf gangs, and then Arthur Penn was a director over there for special service, and they were doing plays. They were touring Europe, and I was in the military police there and getting shot at every night. And I didn't want to go home in a body bag after the war was over, so I met a girl over there who was one of the actresses, and I wanted to date her. She said, "Will you come see the play, and then we'll talk about it?" And I said, "I don't want to see the play." I never saw a play in my life, you know. And so she said, "I won't date you unless you come see the play." So I went over to see the play, and I went backstage, and here were these GIs changing from the play clothes to. I said, "Wait a minute. You mean these guys are traveling around with you pretty girls, being treated like officers, and I'm getting shot at every night? I'm in the wrong outfit." And so I transferred into special service, and Arthur Penn was the director.
And then it would show the credits, and you know, down, 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 fine, and go into that. And then when the song ended again, then you hear him at the very end of it. That was so cool.
That is awesome right there. You can't beat that's just priceless.
That is just awesome, man.
That's so funny. And after 7 years, I used to fly, and if I dozed off, I would wake up and I would choke. And the doctor said it was because I was straining my voice doing all that key stuff so often, you know.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
I knocked it off a little bit, but I can't help it. The little kids come up and they'd say, "Do Roscoe, do go kiki," and I have to do it.
Well, hey, I am your biggest kid though. I'm 43 years old. I still love it. So.
Well, I'm the same way. I just feel like I'm 8 years old all over again. Just a good old boy.
Good old boy. This is the best one.
Beats all you never saw. In trouble with the laws. They was born.
Yeah, they're in trouble, boy. I'll come
Straight in the curve. Lightning the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will.
That's not true. I'm in hot pursuit all the time.
Making their way, the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just a good old boy,
Good old boy.
wouldn't choose you they could. Yeah, fighting the system like a true modern day riding boy.
That is awesome right there.
Stick around. The Road in Between will be right back.
Hello, I'm Neil Johnson with John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company. We offer Toyota, we offer Hyundai, BMW, and Mazda.
You can take them beyond the road and go out and have an adventure. You can go hunting, you can go fishing, kayaking, bicycling, take them all out on the road in between.
Some of the great ones for that, Tom, are the Toyota Tundra, Toyota Tacoma, Toyota 4Runner, Land Cruiser is another good one, the Toyota Sequoia. They're great for the outdoors.
You'll come by and see them.
John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company, a name you can trust, products you can depend on.
In today's world where most businesses and corporations' main mission is to simply make profit, CRM Companies differs itself by focusing on being successful in a way that also promotes growth and prosperity in the community. CRM Companies isn't simply a commercial development and management company. They create opportunities, they create jobs, they maximize the potential for growth and development of a better community, all while still providing great services and outstanding customer relations. Learn more about CRM Companies and their mission today. Visit crmco.com. We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sykes.
Here we are at the Anderson Cancer Center, and we look forward to to meeting Dr. Scott Anderson, who's the director here, and look forward to sharing that story with you. So come on, let's go. Let's go on inside. With Dr. Scott Anderson, as we talk about what it's like to be living between hope and despair, and disease and hope again. And Scott, I want to thank you for being with us on this show.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about it. Respects, it's a place of hope, and it's a place that people come to try to achieve the outcome they desire. They hope that they will get what they want,
Okay.
and sometimes they do. And sometimes hope must be adjusted. Sometimes you may hope that you don't have cancer, but then you have it, so you have to then adjust what you're hoping for, that you get a cure. And many times that's possible. Around 60% of the times we're able to achieve a cure for our patients here, but then sometimes it isn't. When we get there, sometimes we have to again adjust our hopes, so that we hope that we are able to achieve a response, or that we're able to reduce pain, or we're able to prolong life. And we're not always able to do that. Sometimes the next step is that we're going to be with God. And then we hope for a peaceful transition.
Okay.
So hope is an evolving thing. And I always say about hope is, one is that hope is a thing that you have to adjust as you move on. The second thing is that hope is meaningless without action.
Okay.
Hoping to be cured, but then not acting to bring about that cure is the same sort of thing. It's tempting God with foolishness.
People saying, I really don't want to make a public spectacle of my disease. I need to quietly change my life. Or it's a good wake-up call, but they don't want to proclaim it too loud because they know they might backslide. Or
Well, and you see every type of response. Universally, though, when you first are told you have cancer, it's like being hit in the forehead with a 2x4.
Okay.
You're just collapsed. And that's why when you have that discussion, it's very hard to then go on and discuss a treatment plan in much detail, because the person is not getting in. He's been stunned, and he can't absorb anymore. So you have to realize that, and you have to go over it several times and in a way that they understand.
how do you recharge your batteries?
I actually wrote a story about that in the book I did, The Uncommon Thread, is that, this can be very, very hard. When you're walking into a room and there's a family in there and you're giving them bad news, you are essentially shattering the lives of that family, not just the individual, but everyone in that family, doing different jobs. And we had to do a particular job in the Red Sea. And it was during the Mariah season, so there were 40 to 70 knot winds and 10 to 12 foot seas.
Oh,
And something fell off the bottom of a helicopter, a package that was being transported that had to be recovered. The first man goes. When the second man goes, the rotors will tilt and it'll cut off your head. So when I say go, you go. I can't come down low because the seas are too high and the wind's too bad. So we came into the target and he said go, and I went off. And they had to go back and find my partner who had jumped off early. And in that time, because of the drift from the wave, Doppler off, they didn't know where I was anymore. And you would see groups of great white sharks, 3 and 4 of them at the same time. So you're in a dilemma. You have the great white sharks in the water with you, and the waves beating you if you try to get out of the water too much. So if you're snorkeling and you're face down, you're drowning half the time because the waves are smashing into the back of your head. If you try to get on thing you came to recover, you're being beat up. If you're in the water, you're afraid of the sharks. You know, I said in my mind, you know, God, if you're real, I need some help. I really, show me you're real. Send somebody to find me. And almost as soon as I said it, I could see the helicopter come way low over the horizon, and I could see that it was flying a search grid. But that was kind of a transformation for me. When you personally ask for something to save you in a situation where you finally have to accept that there is no way possible for you to save yourself.
Yes.
You know, that renews your faith.
Yes. Scott, I want to really thank you for taking the time out to be with us today and share your story, your sense of call, and kind of your purpose here. It means the world to me for you to be with us today.
You've been my parson for a while.
Yes.
I'm happy to do anything we can together.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor.
Stick around. The Road in Between will be right back.
Award-winning, quality, experience. Glass Incorporated's expert team can handle single window panes to entire high-rise buildings. Whether you need storefronts, glass replacement, mirrors, or shower enclosures, no job is too big or too small. Glass Incorporated, your commercial and residential glass experts. Locations in Meridian, Foley, Alabama, and the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Hello, I'm Neil Johnson with John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company. We offer Toyota, we offer Hyundai, BMW, and Mazda.
You can take them beyond the road and go out and have an adventure. You can go hunting, you can go fishing, kayaking, bicycling, take them all out on the road in between.
Some of the great ones for that, Tom, are the Toyota Tundra, Toyota Tacoma, Toyota 4Runner, Land Cruiser is another good one, the Toyota Sequoia. They're great for the outdoors.
You come by and see you.
John O'Neill Johnson Motor Company, a name you can trust, products you can depend on.
The Road in Between with Tom Sykes is sponsored by John O'Neill Johnson Toyota, CRM Companies, Archer Architecture, Mitchell Signs and Imprints, Glass Incorporated, Benefits Management Group. We're back with The Road in Between with Tom Sykes.
There's a story in the Gospel of Luke where Jesus is teaching on the Sabbath day, and there he is in the temple, and I'm not sure that anybody knew that God would be the guest speaker for that day, but he was there, and as he is speaking, all of a sudden this woman walks in from the back, and she is crippled by a spirit. She's been crippled for 18 years. She is bent over, and she's unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." And then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. There are a lot of people in this life who are bent over double from worry and despair and disease and disappointment and divorce, and yet they're still seeking. And just like this woman, she came to church, so do many people come to church to try to find that healing. And Jesus stops in his tracks, looks up, and sees us who are bent over double. And then what I like about it is he calls her forward, and she gets to decide if she wants to go towards God. She does. And as she goes forward, then he speaks to her personally, and he says, "You are healed." And then he places his hands upon her. And the power of touch seems to be very key to the healing ministry of Jesus Christ, and also today. And here we are at the Cancer Center, and we have this statue that speaks of standing together. But they don't just stand together, do they? They're actually holding hands together, and they're close. And the power of touch, it's a wonderful message for then, and it's a wonderful message for today. And every time I think about a plastic surgeon, I think about cosmetics or getting extra treatment that maybe people don't really want. But they do a lot more than that. In fact, this plastic surgeon deals with cancer a lot. What are some of the misconceptions of being a plastic surgeon with the time you spend? Because I always picture the TV shows and you know, But tell me more really about what a day consists for you.
Well, yeah, I'll start by saying that you're right. Plastic surgery, most people think of it as facelifts and breast augmentation and liposuction and tummy tucks, and that's a big part of plastic surgery. But if you look at plastic surgeons as a whole, that's about 40% of our time. 60% of our time is spent with reconstruction or cancer surgery in my case. So, you know, a normal day for me, I may spend half of my time doing cosmetic work and half of my time doing cancer-related work. The cancer-related work that I do, most of those cases are a little bit quicker. If you count the patients that come through the door, probably 3/4 of the patients that I see, we're dealing with a cancer diagnosis, be it skin cancer, breast cancer, or other. And that would include treating the cancer itself or reconstructing a problem after a cancer has been surgically treated by someone else. Well, you know, it's kind of an interesting journey. I guess we all have kind of an interesting story of where we end up. My father was a surgeon, and I was very lucky to have a wonderful dad and a wonderful mother too. My father was a unique individual. He was a surgeon who had a little atypical personality for most surgeons, not the real type A. Just a wonderful man who was a very good surgeon and very good with people. You know, I think early on I would have told anyone that I was interested in medicine, probably without thinking about it a lot, just because I admired my dad so much. I started getting the opportunity to work some with him in early high school and really see what he was doing day in, day out. And I thought, God, this is really cool. It's not an office job. You know, he was able to work with his hands and have this other side of really dealing with people and helping people through difficult times.
Ministry, right here, you see a lot of tears, you see joy, you see renewal. How's that affected your spirit or your sense of ministry?
Resurrects me on a day-to-day basis to keep my faith. And because you're right, we do see terribly awful diseases. You know, when we deal with things like melanoma, advanced breast cancers, cancers in children. You know, I've been dealing with a patient of mine that's, when I first started dealing with him, he was 6 or 7 years old with melanoma, who's now 8 years old with very advanced melanoma. You know, these things are, of course, unbelievably trying for the patient and the family. Well, I operate at Meridian Plastic Surgery, and you can reach myself and my partner by calling us there, 601-693-7742, or going to our website, which is simply meridianplasticsurgery.com.
Great. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Grateful.
I enjoyed it.
Dr. Thornton, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time, for sharing a little bit about your story and your place here, and you've really made a difference in this community. I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your opportunity to be here.
I'm grateful. The word in Scripture for health and completeness is shalom. And that's what we experienced today with John Clarkpacker, discovering that shalom, as well as Dr. Scott Anderson and Lee Thornton. Roscoe experienced his too, and he shared that as well. So on behalf of all those here at Road in Between, we want to thank you for watching the show. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you next week.
The Road in Between with Tom Sykes is sponsored by John O'Neill Johnson Toyota, CRM Companies, Archer Architecture, Mitchell Signs and Imprints, Glass Incorporated, Benefits Management Group. The Road in Between would also like to thank these fine sponsors. Closed captioning is brought to you by BMG, Benefits Management Group.
bicycle would say, keep your gown down and the pedal to the middle. I'm gone. Gosh, I like Hot Pursuit.